Space Coconut.
Okay, so this isn't going to be a full video. I just wanted to talk about the important things in the Q&A because everybody's going to be talking about them, but they're going to be missing probably the single most important thing that the devs did in the Q&A. I'll do a Q&A condensed like I said I would. I have work in about 2 hours, so I'll work on that video tonight, and then it should be released by the morning if I can get it done. I basically have to watch the Q&A twice. Possibly 3 times. But anyway, so the decisive strike change was inevitable. It was going to happen. What form it took, was anybody's guess. And yay, they took the community's suggestions, and it was the change that made the most sense to me. So being able to, turn off if the survivors did something. People are going to complain about survivors still being able to jump into lockers, but I think it's fine because their point was to disable decisive if a survivor forwarded their objective, right? Which is healing other survivors, rescuing them, doing a gen, whatever. Jumping in a locker, that survivor is doing nothing. If that survivor wants to keep their shield up, then they're going to be stuck not doing anything for that period of time, at least until the killer leaves them alone. And if the killer goes, does something else, and then comes back to the other survivor, by then they'll probably have done something, and the problem with Decisive Strike has been solved. Now, I did like the idea of, taking time off of the timer, and that's the thought that I at first would have gone with, but I see the value in this, so good job. The other thing was the talk about the object of obsession.
We wouldn't usually pull something out this early, but because there has been a lot of discussion about the perk, we thought let's try something different and show you guys a work in progress design. So why don't we throw it on up there so we can just have you guys tell us what you think about the idea. It hasn't been programmed, right? This is super early, but we're like, we've talked about this perk, and this is an idea that has survived at least one round of discussion. We thought, you know what, let's go ahead and ask the community.
Just a note on this one. If y'all nice and we can have actual discussions back and forth, feedback discussions and constructive feedback, this might be something that we do more often in the future, where we show you an early design and we ask for feedback. Now, this is very scary for us because if this comes and it doesn't work and we don't do this design, we don't want to hear it like 6 months down the line, but you said you promised. No. This was a part of a discussion with the community. So this is a test. We're seeing if this works. We're opening the discussion with you guys. And this is it. Louis, do you want to get over the changes?
Their proposal for the new object idea is interesting. It's kind of a give and take. It's powered by what the killer does, which is kind of interesting. So like in my case, I like to use the aura reveal on traps. So if the survivor is, triggers a trap and their aura is revealed, they're going to kind of see that that I'm coming for them. People who use nurses, they're going to see that the killer is coming for them. It's a good trade-off, right? Because if the killer can see you, it's a counter to those sort of things. I'm not sure how I like that part of it, right? The more I think about it, but whatever. The timer with having their aura revealed automatically to the killer every 30 seconds for 3 seconds is interesting. It's kind of like a timer. You're taking peeks, like they said. Now, this idea probably needs some work. It's just an idea. But here's the thing. They purposefully showed this with the community during the stream as an experiment to invite us to be part of the design of this thing, right? That is the single most important thing that they did during the Q&A. And if we show that this is what we want, we want to be part of the process to say, hey, you know what, before you spent money and before you put in effort and all of that stuff into changing that UI, how different would it have been if you shared with us like this the ideas of what you were trying to do, what you were thinking about doing, and said, hey, what do you guys think before we spend time and money doing this? And then the rest of the community says, hey, no, you know what, your old UI design is fine. Maybe do this, maybe change this, go ahead and improve that, this, that, and the other thing. And then the devs put in the resources to change the UI. that's the problem that we're running into now, because they're stuck with how the UI is and they can't change it leaving the PTB. They know, I can't say everybody or nobody, but they know that the majority of players do not like the new UI, right? They know that, but they can't do anything about it, and that's their fault for kind of, making stupid choices. But this object of obsession thing, it needs to happen more often, because if we're part of the process, then the game can really only improve. I mean, even if they don't take our advice, even if they say this is our idea and people are like, nah, but they're like, okay, we're going to kind of do it anyway, sorry, then at least we were part of the process and we're prepared for what's coming, right? And then maybe they'll eventually change it anyway as per the normal routine that we have. But I just wanted to highlight this moment because earlier in the stream, they announced that they weren't going to change the UI, that the UI was going to stay as it was from the PTB. And as we can expect, chat went nuts.
We did receive a lot of feedback after PTB, or during PTB if you wish. So the plan here is basically not much has changed for the release, and we're gonna go into this a little bit onto why. But what I'm saying today is that we're gonna look at focused feedback specifically for UI for a few weeks after the release, after everyone, and not just only Steam players on the PTB, had their hands for a little while on the new UI. Before we hop onto more questions, I do think we had a raffle to do.
And then right after, they tried to calm everybody down by doing the giveaway, which I thought was really, really funny. But after that, they did this. And I don't know. I think this was I'm going to say it again. I think this was the most important thing that they did in the Q&A. And I hope that you guys who have access to the forums can weigh in on this in the feedback section, right? Just label your forum post as something with the object of obsession, feedback, whatever, right, on the design. Give your feedback on the object of obsession proposal, but make sure that they understand, make sure that you tell them that you appreciate and that you want to be part of the process in the future, in future changes for Dead by Daylight, in future changes of perks, of killers, of different changes of the game. Because if they understand that we want to help and we actually do well with our, I want to say criticism, but our feedback, our suggestions, if we do well and respond professionally to this that they've done here, they're going to be more willing to do it again in the future with more important things than just a simple perk, right? So I encourage you, go to the forums, weigh in on what they suggested on Object of Obsession, and include in that forum that you appreciate that they're inviting us to be part of the design process. Because I want to see them do this more, honestly. Because that's what we've been asking for years, is for the devs to take our advice in how we because we've played the game more than they have, So that's kind of all I wanted to say about it. I'll do the condensed Q&A later, and I was kind of rambling, so sorry. I'm gonna get to work on that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm done. I'll see you later. Bye.